Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This is lecture 3 in your writing course 103. The focus of this lecture is explain how to do something. So we're going to learn how to write about doing something. The lecture components for today are vocabulary. We have some food vocabulary and some action verbs. Under the grammar component, we have the imperative statements plus the count and non-count nouns. We'll be talking about capitalization, end capitalization in strategies and conventions. And we will do something about technical writing. Let's start with the reading as usual. This is a reading text from your book, page 28. Let's read it together. Then we will discuss the points in this text. The title of this reading is Grocery Shopping, going to the supermarket and shopping for grocery. The Garcia family goes grocery shopping every Saturday. They go to Al's supermarket. It is near their apartment. Francisco and Maria often go grocery shopping with their parents. First, the family walks into the supermarket. Then, Francisco gets a shopping cart. Next, Mrs. Garcia reads the shopping list. She tells Maria, "Buy 2 tomatoes." She tells Mr. Garcia, "Get 6 onions. Don't forget the bread." After that, Mr. Garcia and Maria get the groceries. The shopping list is very long. Now notice on this page, on this slide, we have the words first, then, after that. We will discuss these in this lecture. The Garcia family needs a lot of things. They buy vegetables, fruit, meat, eggs, and cheese. They don't buy junk food. The Garcia family likes healthy food. Mrs. Garcia is a great cook. Next, Mrs. Garcia pays for the groceries, and the Garcia family goes home. Then Maria and Francisco carry the groceries into the apartment. There are many bags. Mr. and Mrs. Garcia put away the groceries. Finally, the Garcia family relaxes and eats lunch. Okay, now we will move to the discussion of the main points in this reading text. Let's start with the vocabulary on page 30. We have these words: tomatoes, apples, chicken, bananas, fish, lettuce, oranges, eggs, meat, onions, cheese, and bread. If you don't know the meaning of these words, you have to look them up in a dictionary. But notice we have some words ending with S, like tomatoes, apples, bananas, eggs, oranges, and onions. All of these are in the plural. Tomato, tomatoes. Apple, apples. The other words like chicken, fish, meat, bread, and lettuce cannot be in the plural. You cannot say chickens as the meat. We cannot say meats. This is incorrect because these are non-count nouns. Okay, before we discuss the non-count nouns, let's talk about the action verbs. What is an action verb? An action verb is a verb that tells what the subject of a sentence is doing. The examples here, we have the verb run, talk, skip, sleep, jump, hop, snore, go, and sleep again. All these verbs are action verbs. Look at this example. James walked to the store. The verb is walked. This is an action verb. James is doing something. He did something. He walked. Walked is the action verb because it tells what James was doing. Now let's do an exercise on this. We have some action verbs on page 30. The verbs go, walk, get, tell, buy, and like. Look at the sentences. The Garcia family grocery shopping every Saturday. The Garcia family goes. You see the S in goes because this is simple present, and we discussed this in lecture 2. So the Garcia family goes grocery shopping every Saturday. The verb go is an action verb. First, the family walks into the supermarket. Walks. This is another action verb. Francisco gets a shopping cart. Gets a shopping cart. Number 4, Mrs. Garcia tells Maria. She tells Maria, buy 2 tomatoes. Number 5, they buy vegetables. They buy. You see, you don't have an S here. Not buys. They buy vegetables. Fruit, meat, eggs, and cheese. And the last sentence, the Garcia family likes healthy food. So these are all action verbs because they tell what the subject is doing. We have 5 more sentences. Number 7, Mrs. Garcia pays for the groceries. She pays money for the groceries. Number 8, Maria and Francisco carry the groceries into the apartment, into the house. Mr. and Mrs. Garcia put away the groceries. Finally, the Garcia family relaxes. Then they eat lunch. Again, the verbs pay, carry, put, relax, and eat are all action verbs. Now here on this slide we have 2 web pages about action verbs. The first one is a worksheet. First, do the worksheet, the questions and the exercises, and then you check your answers on the same worksheet. We have another worksheet also with answers. You can see the second web page. So these, I advise you to go visit these sites and do the exercises on them. Now, let's talk about the imperative sentences in English. What's an imperative sentence? Imperatives are verbs used to give orders or commands or warnings or instructions, and also to make a request. For example, give me that tape, please. This is an imperative. And you can see that the imperative starts with the verb, the infinitive without to, like give, open, come, go. Look at these examples. Come here. This is a request. Sit down. A request or a command. Open the door. All these are imperatives. They are imperative sentences. So we are giving orders here. Now, how do you negate the imperative? We have the negative imperatives. It's very easy. Just put do not before the verb. Like don't go. Do not or don't walk on the grass. Don't waste your time. Don't open the door, etc. All these are negative imperatives. So you can see that imperative is very easy to form. Here we have an exercise on the imperative, which is on page 31 in your books. We have some words: to, the, go, supermarket. We want to form or to make a sentence from these words. Look at the first one. Can you make a sentence? Of course, you have to start with the verb because it's an imperative. Go. Then after go, what? Go to. Okay? Go to the supermarket. This is an imperative. Now think about number 2. A cart shopping get. The verb is get. Get what? Get a shopping cart. Get a shopping cart. Number 3. And buy eggs, fruit. Okay? The verb is buy. Start with the verb. Buy eggs and fruit. We have more sentences here to make. Number 4, home, go. The verb is go. Go home. Imperative. The groceries, carry. Carry the groceries. Carry the groceries. And the last one here on this slide, put what? Put away the groceries, or put the groceries away. You can say put away or put the groceries away. You can see all these sentences are imperative. And notice we start with a capital letter and end with a full stop. Okay, we have now another exercise on the imperative, which is on page 31. Look at the first sentence. Go to the supermarket. Can you put this into the negative? How do you negate it? Don't what? Don't go to the supermarket. Don't go to the supermarket. Number 2, get a shopping cart. How can you negate it? Okay, don't get a shopping cart. And number 3, buy eggs and fruit. It's very easy, you can see. Don't buy eggs and fruit. 3 more sentences. Go home. Don't go home. Carry the groceries. Don't carry the groceries. And finally, put the groceries away. Put the groceries away. Don't put the groceries away. So it's easy to form an imperative sentence and to negate it also. You can see here also we have two references, web references. The first one is a video about the imperative. It's very interesting to watch. So please go there and watch it to learn more about the imperative. And the second one is an exercise. You can do the exercise and also check your answers. You can learn from your mistakes. Now to the count and non-count nouns. You remember when we started this lecture, we talked about nouns like chicken or fish or meat. These nouns are non-count. They cannot be in the plural. So you cannot say meats. Meats is incorrect. But other nouns like book, you can say books. Okay, pen, pens, door, doors. These are count nouns. Count nouns. Okay, so count nouns are nouns you can count. They are singular or plural, like a book, books. And we use a or an or the or a number with count nouns. So we say a book, we can say the book, or we say 3 books, 4 books, etc. Because this is a count noun. Non-count nouns cannot be counted. They are singular, always. We don't use and, or we don't use a, or numbers before count, non-count nouns. Look at these examples. Cheese, we don't say a cheese, but we say some cheese. You see, we say some cheese. We don't say 3 cheese or 5 cheese or a cheese, because cheese is a non-count noun. We have an exercise on this. You can see here 2 columns. The first is count nouns, the second non-count nouns. Okay, in the first column you see the count nouns with an S. You can see the S in red. Tomatoes, onions, bananas, apples, eggs, oranges. All of these are count nouns. They can be singular, apple, or plural, apples. The other column, we have non-count nouns. You can see lettuce, meat, fish, chicken, bread, and cheese. All these are non-count nouns. They do not accept the S, the plural S. They are not used in the plural. Okay? Look at these sentences. All of these sentences are correct. Why? Because we have count nouns, bananas. So we can say buy 2 bananas or buy some bananas. You can say also buy 2 apples or some apples. Buy 2 oranges or some oranges. All of these are count nouns. The same with eggs and onions, books, etc. Now, these 5 sentences we have, in these 5 sentences we have bread, chicken, fish, lettuce, and meat. These are non-count nouns, so you cannot say 2 bread or a bread. No, you can say some bread, some chicken, some fish, some lettuce, and some meat. Why? Because these are non-count nouns, uncountable. Look at these examples also. Yeah, number 1, buy 3 bread, incorrect. Number 2, buy some bread. Okay, buy 2 chicken, no. Buy some chicken, yes, true. Buy 5 fish, incorrect. Buy some fish, yes. Here we have on this web page, there are 3 quizzes in fact, and some examples about count and non-count nouns. This is a very good web page. You can learn about count and non-count nouns. Now, the sequential order. If you remember, in the slide about the reading, there are words such as first, then, next, after that, finally. These words are used to tell sequential order. 1, 2, 3. Okay. They tell the order of events, the order in which events happen. And we use them to show sequential order. Okay? And we put them at the beginning of a sentence. And we add a comma after the word. Okay. First, comma, next, comma, then, after that, comma, and finally, comma. Good. We have an exercise about this. We have some sentences. Look at these sentences. Next, Mrs. Garcia reads the shopping list. First, the Garcia go to the supermarket. After that, Maria and Mr. Garcia go to the groceries. Go get the groceries. Then Francisco gets a shopping cart. You see, we have 4 sentences. Now, what is the correct order? The first sentence should be this one. First, the Garcia go to the supermarket. This is the correct order. What's the second step? Okay, this is the second step or event. Then Francisco gets a shopping cart. Okay, number 3. Next, Mrs. Garcia reads the shopping list. And the last event or step, after that, Maria and Mrs. Garcia go get the groceries. So these 4 sentences tell us about 4 events that happen one after another. We need to rearrange them in the correct sequential order. Another exercise, look at these sentences. Finally, this must be the final or the last sentence. The family relaxes and has lunch. Next, Mr. and Mrs. Garcia put away the groceries in the kitchen. This sentence cannot be the first sentence. Mrs. Garcia pays for the groceries and the Garcia family goes home. And then Maria and Francisco carry the groceries into the apartment. Which sentence do you think is the first sentence in this sequential order? Of course, this is the first sentence. She pays. First, she pays money for the groceries. And then, after that, what do? They carry the groceries into the apartment. This is what happens next. The third step is this one. Next, Mr. and Mrs. Garcia put away the groceries. And finally, the family relaxes and has lunch at home. Again, these sentences are in sequential order. We have an exercise on sequential order online. This is the website address. Now, let's move to something else, which is end punctuation. The punctuation at the end of a sentence or a question. Look at the first one. We use a period or a full stop for most statements. Example, it's very convenient, full stop, period. We use a question mark for questions. Example, is it convenient? Question. Is it good? Is it nice? Is it cheap? Does Ahmed live in Dammam? All these are questions. And last, we have the exclamation point, which we use to make a statement stronger, like, finally they relax, exclamation mark. Okay, now we have some sentences and we want to add the punctuation mark, the correct one. This is a statement, it's not a sentence. So, what do we need? The Garcia family goes grocery shopping every Saturday. We need a full stop. Number 2, this is a question. Do they go to Al's supermarket? Al's supermarket, this is the name of the supermarket. This is a question. We need a question mark. Number 3 is also a question. Is it the supermarket? Is the supermarket near their apartment? Okay, yes, we need also a question mark. And this is a strong statement. The shopping list is very long. You see, very long. It's a strong statement. What do you need? You need an exclamation point. And number 5, this is another statement. It's not a strong statement. It's not a question. So it's a full stop that we need. Mrs. Garcia is a great cook. If you say it like this, Mrs. Garcia is a great cook, you need an exclamation point then. Another strong statement. Finally, the family relaxes and eats lunch. They relax and eat lunch. So, strong, what do we need? Okay, exclamation point. Now, to the last part, which is the writing, how to do something. In this unit, the writing is about how to do something. Okay, now, the exercise here is about how to make chicken salad. How to make chicken salad. It's on page 34 in your books. First, we have the ingredients. We need cooked chicken. We need 1 tomato, 1 onion, lettuce. You cannot say 1 lettuce, remember. Mayonnaise, salt and pepper. Also, salt and pepper, non-count nouns. You cannot say a salt or 1 salt. These are non-count nouns, remember. Okay, let's see how to make chicken salad. First, buy the ingredients. This is step number 1. First. Step 2, next. Cut the chicken into small pieces. Put the chicken in a bowl. 2 steps together. Okay. Third, or then, add the mayonnaise. Number 4, after that, cut the tomato and the onion into small pieces. Put the tomato and onion in the bowl. Next, add some salt and pepper. You see, we have some steps here. And finally, the last step, put the lettuce on a plate. Put the chicken salad. Okay, very good. Now, use the following words to write about how to make green salad. I want you to try and write about how to make green salad. We have ingredients: lettuce, tomatoes, cucumber, lemon, salt, etc. The verbs, you can use cut, peel, mix, add, chop. And sequence words: first, second, next, then, after that, and finally. All these words will help you write about how to make chicken salad. Now, let's do some practice on what we have learned today. Okay? We want to choose the best word or phrase to complete each sentence. Buy 6 what? Okay? Can you say 6 some? No. 6 tomatoes. 6 some tomatoes. 6 tomatoes. Okay? D is correct. And B is also correct. There is a mistake here. B and D are correct. Number 2, cut an apple. Put the apple. Cut an apple. Put the apple. See, in a bowl, because it's mentioned in the first sentence. An apple, the apple. Don't lettuce. We have a lot. If we have a lot of lettuce, we don't buy lettuce. Does Martha go shopping on Saturdays? What do you need? This is a question. Okay, question mark. 5, get what? Many bread, 6 bread, a bread, or some bread? Yes, because bread is non-count. Now look at these sentences and order them in the correct order. First, I brush my teeth and wash my face. Every day I wake up at 5 in the morning. After that I have a big breakfast. Then I leave for work at 6:30 a.m. Okay, what's the correct order? Is it 2, 1, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, or what? Okay, the correct order is 2, 1, 3, 4. Thank you very much for being with me today, and I hope you have learned a lot. And inshallah, we will see you next time. Thank you.